How's it going, you guys? Mr. Pike coming to you from, So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about solving absolute value equations and inequalities. I'm going to go over equations real quick with you guys. So just remember for me that absolute value just means the distance from 0. So like the absolute value of 2 is 2 because it is 2 units away from 0. Likewise, the absolute value of negative 2 is also 2 because it is 2 units away from 0. So in solving this first equation, now it says the absolute value of x, so the absolute value of some number, when you figure out what it is 2. Well, that means that x could be 2 or x could be negative 2, either way. Right? So we put in a negative 2, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2, the absolute value of 2 is also 2, so that works. So likewise, the absolute value of x is 5, so what could x be? Well, x could be 5, right? The absolute value of 5 is 5, or x could be negative 5. So that way the absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. And I'm going to start switching it up on you a little bit and give you a little switch around. All right, so say we have the absolute value of x plus 1 equals 3. Well, just like we did in the last ones, the absolute value of x could have been 5 or negative 5. So in this case, x plus 1, the absolute value of that could be 3, or the absolute value of x plus 1 could be negative 3, such that it comes out to be 3 in both directions. And then you can just solve both of those equations. So subtract 1 from both sides. X is 2. Subtract 1, and x is negative 4. Could be either one of those. Those are both good solutions for you on that problem. Likewise, x minus 4 is 12. So x minus 4 could be 12, the absolute value of x minus 4, which could also be negative 12. We can take both of those equations, set them equal to 0, and solve. Well, not set them equal to 0. Sorry, what are you talking about, Mr. Pike? What the heck? So add 4, so x is 16. Add 4, x is negative 8. Both of those are solutions. So you plug it back into the original function. 16 minus 4 is 12. The absolute value of 12 is 12. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. Negative 12, the absolute value of that is 12. So we are good. So this will start getting a little bit weirder whenever we get into inequalities. Because you'll have to remember, this is the absolute value of x is greater than 2. So essentially, if I think about this on a number line, I have 2, x is greater than 2, the absolute value of it, right? So it could be any of those numbers over there, so like 3, 4, all the way up to infinity. The absolute value of x, well, that could also be a negative 2 there. And if I had it to be negative 2, well, I want it to be going this direction, such that I could choose negative 3 or negative 4, because the absolute value of negative 3 is 3, which is greater than 2. So what I can say then is that either x has to be less than negative 2, or x has to be greater than 2. Either way. And we're actually going to state these in interval notation. So the way we do that, remember, is we have everything from negative infinity all the way up until negative 2, which is not included, so put a parentheses. Then we have everything from 2 to infinity. It is including both of those parts. So this is how we will want you to write your solutions. All right, looking at something else. The absolute value of x is greater than or equal to 3. So again, notice on this other one, it was the variable is greater than the number. So we said the variable is less than the negative number, or the variable is greater than the number. That's kind of like a shortcut that we could use if you remember that rule. So we know x is less than or equal to negative 3, or x is greater than or equal to 3. So again, think about that. Make sure it makes sense. So we have the numbers less than negative 3, which would be like negative 4, negative 5, things like that. If I plug it in, the absolute value of them will be greater than 3. So we know we have something good. So you have everything less than negative 3, so from negative infinity all the way up until negative 3. It is included, so I put a bracket because I have the or equal to part. Then I have x is greater than 3, so greater than or equal to 3, interval notation, happy day. All right. Just like we saw on the equals, we can also have inequalities with some other numbers thrown in there. So same sort of deal. X plus 4 less than or equal to negative 10, and x plus 4 greater than or equal to 10. So subtract your 4, x is less than or equal to negative 14, and subtract 4, so x is greater than or equal to 6. So I have everything from negative infinity to negative 14. And that needs to be a bracket because we do have or equal to. And then we have everything greater than 6, greater than or equal to, so 6 to infinity. And that is what I want. Oh yes. All right, look at another one. So notice we have 2x minus 1 is greater than 5. So 2x minus 1 needs to be less than negative 5, or 2x minus 1 needs to be greater than 5. Either way. All right, so subtract your 1, so 2x is less than negative 6. Sorry, we're adding 1 rather. Plus 1, negative 4. Luskis. All right, and then divide by 2, so x is less than negative 2. Add your 1. 2x is greater than 6. Divide by 2, x is greater than 3. All right, so we have everything from negative infinity all the way up until negative 2. And then we go from 3 to infinity. Cool. All right, so now notice our sign has switched. It now says the absolute value of x is less than 3. So if I think about this on a number line, the absolute value of x is less than 3. Well, I have 3. I need to be the numbers less than that. Absolute value, so I also choose negative 3. And I need the absolute value to be less than 3. So I would need something like negative 2 or negative 1. So it's anything between negative 3 and 3. So the way we could write that is x has to be greater than negative 3, and x has to be less than 3. So again, notice the sign changed. We made it negative. Sign stayed the same. The number on the other side stayed the same. So now we know if we have everything from negative 3 to 3, so from negative 3 to 3, they are both in parentheses because they're both not included. It's not or equal to. All right, look at another one. So again, flip the sign. So x is greater than or equal to negative 6, and x is less than or equal to 6. So we have from negative 6 to 6, both in brackets because it is included on both. And again, x minus 4 greater than or equal to negative 5, and x minus 4 less than or equal to 5. Add the 4, so x is greater than or equal to negative 1, and x is less than or equal to 9. So we have from negative 1 to 9, that graph is possible. All right, so now we're throwing a few numbers in there. But again, just like all the other ones that we have done, the absolute value has been by itself. So now the thing keeping from the absolute value being by itself is this plus 1. So if I just subtract 1, now I have the absolute value of x minus 3 is less than 7. And I can do this problem just like we didn't do in the other ones. So I have x minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 7. And x minus 3 is less than 7. So add your 3. That means x is greater than negative 4. Add your 3. X is less than 10. So greater than negative 4 and less than 10. So between negative 4 and 10 using interval notation. Cool, cool. Oh no, there's a back. All right. Likewise, make sure you subtract that 1. So minus 1, minus 1. Absolute value of 2x minus 3 less than or equal to 7. So we'll change our inequality and the sign on our number. So 2x minus 3 greater than or equal to negative 7. And 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 7. I will solve both of these, so add 3. 2x is greater than or equal to negative 4. 2x is less than or equal to 10. Divide by 2, so x is greater than or equal to negative 2, and divide by 2, so x is less than or equal to 5. We're between negative 2 and 5, so we go from negative 2 to 5. Alrighty, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Alright, so this problem comes from your homework. We have write an absolute value equation that represents each situation or whatever. All real numbers exactly 6 units from 0. So if I want 6 units from 0, that just means the absolute value of the number that is 6 units away from 0. We could also do plus 0 inside there, but it's not really necessary. But essentially it's just taking the value and it is 6 units away from 0. Because I could choose x to be -6 or x is 6. Both of these are 6 units away from 0. So you can work it out and just double check that everything works. Likewise, I'm going to change this and make this say all numbers exactly 4 units from 2. 4 units from 2. 4 units from 2 instead of 5 units from 3. So the absolute value, I want it to be 4 units away from 2, so from positive 2. So remember in our graphing, if I wanted to be something at 2, so 1, 2, if I wanted it to be right here, and I wanted to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 away from 2, in order to make it move to the right, we needed to say x minus 2. We can do the same sort of thing when we're writing our equation. So think about where it needs to be. And again, you can solve this so that x minus 2 equals 4, x minus 2 equals -4. This would be x equals 6 and x equals -2. These are both 4 units from 2. So 4 units from 2, 4 units from 2. Check your work by solving them. It makes it a little bit easier on you guys. All right, last 2 problems we're going to look at. So we want all real numbers that are at most 2 units away from 7. So 2 units away from 7. I want to be away from 7, so from 7, absolute value, that are at most 2 units away. So we want the difference to be less than or equal to 2 units away. So that way the absolute value, the difference from 7, is 2 units away. All right, looking at the next one. All real numbers that are at least 5 units away from 10. So at least 5 units away from 10. So at least 5 units away from 10. So we want to be away from 10. We want to be more than 5 units away. So at least 5 units away, I want to be more than the absolute value, the difference, to be greater than 5 units. All right, give the rest of your homework a shot. I am in my room to answer some questions for you guys. Remember, you got a quiz coming up soon on this stuff. Love you guys, and I will see y'all soon. Bye-bye.